Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Moejii, the King of the North. I'm here with my main man, Tony Teflon. We doing a season 7 prediction show, ladies and gentlemen. The good stuff. I'm breaking this down. I'm breaking it down into the North.
Tony Teflon.
The North.
We're doing a season 7 prediction
Do I always do this?
I
always do this.
I'm breaking this down.
I never mute it when I have to. All right, back to the show. My bad, folks. So we're breaking this down into the North, King's Landing, the Riverlands, and other lands beyond, folks. We are here. Tony, people, converse.
So there, my people, you know, this is Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you, another one. I'm happy to be here, my man Mo. You know what I mean? We're talking about the North, season 7 and beyond, or whatever. You know what I mean? Season 6 and going into season 7. So I think it'd be a little interesting conversation. This high as a motherfucker up in here, son, for real.
Yes, indeed, folks. And we got a pack one here. I was determined to do a full season 7 prediction, but my main man Tony told me that this isn't the way you do it. You got to give the people a nice little taste. You got to give them an appetizer. You don't give them everything all at once. All right. So we'll give you the dessert later. Let me and this man do our thing. We sticking to the North, folks. Tony, what you liking about? Let's start off with doing the end of season 6. What did you like the most about what we saw going into the next season?
I think that we finally have a lot of things that are wrapped up. You know, we finally got rid of the Ramsey Bolton story, so I'm happy to be done with that. I'm happy to be done with the mutineer plot at the wall. So I'm just glad that the North had basically wrapped those things up. It didn't leave anything out there hanging for next season. So all those storylines are wrapped up, and I'm happy that the North really concluded them pretty good.
Yeah, they could have left us with a lot of cliffhangers. They could have gave us a little bitey nails. They could have left us tripping a little bit on the cliff, but it wasn't like last year. It wasn't like season 5, where season 5 was boom, Sansa and Theon jumping off the castle. Boom, Brienne and Potter are looming around somewhere. Boom, you know what I mean? Jon Snow getting stabbed up, the biggest cliffhanger of them all. They didn't leave us like that. They gave us a little taste of all sorts of things for next season. We know Dany's going to Westeros. We know Jon is the King of the North. We got a lot of pieces of the puzzle put away, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I enjoyed all of it. Enjoyed, especially, you know, the way you see we start with Jon coming back and everything. You know, when I think about that, that seems like 2 years ago now. You know, it really was the beginning of the season. But when I think back on it, like Jon coming back to life, that to me, it seems like it happened 2 seasons ago for some reason. It seems so far ago, so long ago. But the whole thing of him just gasping for air, Melisandre, the whole her washing up the body and the long cloth and Tormund looking at his dick and all that. Those are like little things that you just seem to forget, you know what I mean? But it seems so long ago that sometimes it's hard for me to think, did that really happen this season? Yeah, it did.
Exactly. And did you hear the news that they are starting season 7 off later than predicted? They're saying that it's because of the winter, because of the snow, because of the weather, God knows what. What you think about that, Tony?
Well, as long as we get the book, I don't care. I'm more interested in getting the book than the next season. So I want the book. I'm not, you know, next season will start when it starts. Give me the book.
I think they pushed it back because they want the book to come out, folks. I think they got an inside track. I think George R. R. Martin's dropping it Christmas 2016, early 2017, and that's how they want to do it. They want the source material before they start the season. Obviously, in August and fall, September, October, they'll be shooting scenes, but I think the major meaty stuff, the big plot stuff, is going to be after the book.
Yeah, I think that they need the book. They need the book for a story. I know they did a decent job without the book, or people will say they did a decent job. I liked it off book right here. We don't know how much off book they really went. We don't know how much they really have. So a lot of us will say off book because we haven't received the book. So it seems like it's off book, but they need stuff. You know what I mean? They need to know where the story is going. I think they already know, but I think they need that. But I think they don't want to spoil everything for George. They're trying to be nice to him. He's been good to them. They had to do the Jon Snow spoil. They had no choice but to do that. You know, so they're probably trying to give him some stuff left that they didn't spoil.
Yeah, the Jon Snow spoil was a hill mountain that they could not go past. They could not do the season without that. They left off with Jon getting stabbed by his brothers of the Night's Watch, and you can't just have a dead body for 10 episodes. That's not happening. You can't have Jon chilling in a freezer all season. They had to, you know, bring him back, even if that's not the way George R. R. Martin's going to do it in the book. I mean, they had to do that. Had to be done. I mean, that's a very, very big plot with a character that can't be overlooked. It's not like Gendry, folks. It can't just be like Gendry still rowing, folks. It's Jon Snow. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. Gendry, Edric Storm, things like that can be swept to the side, not put in the show. Even though they did have Edric in the show, he was just in the bottle, and he was a deformed little baby inside one of the bottles of Selyse when she was saying she named one of them Edric. So they did have him in the show, but these people you can get rid of. These mysteries, this Jon Snow thing, it's a 19-year-old mystery. It had to get settled. Everyone knew. It's like I said, I'm happy that people came up with other things about it, and it was very good for the community, very good for the fandom, but everybody knew what it was. It's not a big shock, but I'm just happy that that's over with, and we don't have to talk about that. I would be more happy if I really got a definitive answer of who wrote this pink letter. That's what I really would like to, because when I first got into Game of Thrones, that's the beef I got into Game of Thrones on, saying Stannis wrote the pink letter. And I'm still going to say it, and I need this book to come out so I can prove this fact already and get that over. So that's, to me, that's my big mystery that I want solved.
Mystery indeed. Who wrote the pink letter? I was going to jump to another subject, but that got my throat tingling. I forgot about the pink letter. I'd love to talk about the pink letter, Teflon. You want to start off with that?
Well, it's all in the North. You know, we're talking about the North, the pink letter's in the North. So we see the pink letter was written by Ramsey. But the thing about it, that it was written by Ramsey, everybody in the show thought it was written by LittleFinger, all right? So just the fact that so many people thought it was written by LittleFinger shows you that in the books, it probably isn't. I know for a fact that it's not written by Ramsey in the book. There's no one can prove to me that is written by Ramsey in the book. There's no way it was written by Ramsey in the books. It's impossible to be written by him. I don't see how anyone could think it could be. So it's either, I will concede that it's either Mance or it's either Stannis. And I will have to lean towards Stannis.
I will have to lean with you. You, Preston Jacobs, you got into a big beef. You got into a big battle there, Teflon. You got into a big splatterfest. He says it's Mance. You say it's Stannis. I seen both your angles. I like both of the angles. I see why he thinks it's Mance, and I see why you think it's Stannis. Now, yeah, I don't know who would it benefit more. Who do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if it was any beef or there was never nothing like that. I mean, my channel, you can't compare what I do compared to that huge channel. That's a huge channel.
Stop being modest.
Yeah, oh, please, that's a huge channel. I'm a little channel. I'm a pimple on that channel's ass. That guy gets more views than I get on all my videos in a month that he gets in one video. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me. But his videos are very compelling. It almost convinced me when I watched his video that Mance wrote it. But, you know, I know Stannis wrote it, but it was very convincing. I can understand why people go along with him on it. But there are a couple of things that he leaves out in the videos, I think, that would push it towards more of Stannis doing.
You see this, folks? This is why we do what we do. When I seen both these fellas' videos, they both compelled me. I had to pick a side. I had to go with somebody. I went with my main man, Tony T. I just think that it benefits Stannis more. I could see the angle with the Spear Wives. I could see the angle with Vale, marrying him to Jon. I could see everything that Tony puts out there. People forget about Vale. They forget about Mance switching Sam's baby with Gilly's baby, sending him to Old Town. They forget all these nooks and crannies, all the deep stuff that the pink letter mystery brings.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things I can go on. It would take me hours to go. I got videos. I got 3 videos on it. Y'all go check out if you want. But, you know, there was a deal between Mance and there was a deal between Stannis. It's pretty obvious that Stannis had already, the deal was worked out that Val would become the Queen of Winterfell and someone would marry her. Now Stannis's plan was to marry Jon to Vale, so it was going to work out both ways. But you could see obviously other people trying to get Vale for that reason. They want her not because she's good looking. They want her because that she is the Queen of Winterfell, and they would become the Lord of Winterfell if they marry her. And it's pretty obvious. You could read I'm not going to go into the chapters that you could read it, but go in my video, Stannis Mance master plan, that goes all into that situation. But as for Mance, when you really look at Mance Raider, the biggest thing you would have to ask yourself is that he just really doesn't have the time and the opportunity to do it. It just would be hard for him to pull it off in the current position where he was at with the spear-wise being hunted down and everything else. It'd be really hard for him to get that letter off. And that's the biggest issue with Mance. It's just that the opportunity really isn't there for him.
If I'm missing anything, please interject. It all boils down to who has the pieces, folks. Who has the bare necessities? Now we're talking Ravens. Stannis has got his maester. We're talking about quill and pen and ink. We're talking about a maester. What's the third piece of evidence that Mance doesn't have?
Well, the whole thing. Well, if you look at the Stannis situation and you're going through Stannis, what he has to have, you have to have the quill, you have to have the raven. He has those things. You have to have the story. He has all those things because Reek, when he captures Theon, he right then has him and he spills everything when Asha comes to the room. That's another reason why you would think that if Ramsey wrote the letter, he would have Reek because he says he beat Stannis in battle. Now we know Stannis has Reek captured. So if he beat Stannis in battle like he claimed, he would have Reek. He wouldn't have to ask for him. So that's a reason why you could know that it's not Ramsey that wrote it, that the letters are fake. And it's you can see in it that Stannis has a plan up his sleeve when he stops there at the Crawford's village. He stops there with a purpose. He stops there with a purpose to win the Battle of Ice, and he knows that when this battle is over, most likely he's going to need troops. So obviously, the pink letter is just a form of someone trying to get Jon Snow to come down from the wall and help. And this is what gets Jon killed because he reads it and agrees to come down. So that's really what it was. They didn't play it that way in the show, but that's what the pink letter is all about.
I completely forgot. Thank you to the chat. He also has the seal, the blood red, the light pink seal of the Boltons that you can manage and make out of different colors, spilling different colors of inks together or whatever to make the Bolton seal. So that's another piece right there.
Well, yeah, he has the maester. He has the straight maester from the Dreadfort. He has him in his clutches. So when people say that Jon would recognize the handwriting, oh, this is off, this is not Ramsey's handwriting. Well, you have to look at it like this. Maesters write the letters. We hear Lady Dustin say that, and most likely the lords may sign their name. But the maesters are the one who write the letters. So Jon, if the maester of the Dreadfort is there, he wouldn't recognize any difference because this is the guy who always writes the letter. And then we also see that when Stannis takes Deepwood Mott, we see that Stannis has a letter from Ramsay Bolton that contains Ramsay's signature, Trueborn Lord, and it's emphasized how big Ramsay's signature is on it, and it has a piece of skin on it. So if Stannis needed a copy of it, he has a maester there that is skilled enough to make a map, because that maester makes a map and he sends it off to Roose Bolton. So if that guy can make a map and send it off to Roose Bolton, and he could definitely look at that big ass signature of Ramsay and copy it and send that fucker off.
Exactly. Y'all just got the knowledge, folks. Y'all just got a tidbit. Make sure y'all watch Teflon's video again if you want a refresher on the pink letter in the books. It's a doozy, folks. It's a doozy. Now let's get into the pink letter on the show. Now I was convinced 110% that it was LittleFinger himself. Okay, I put a foot in my mouth this season. I thought the Umbers were gonna turn false. I thought the Umbers were going to turn on Ramsey. I thought the LittleFinger letter, it was the pink letter written by LittleFinger on the show. It didn't happen. Teflon, what'd you think about the show Pink Letter?
Yeah, it would have made a lot of sense if it would have been written by LittleFinger. Definitely would. If they did that, then definitely. But the fact they killed off Stannis and they killed off Mance already, the fact of the matter is that the pink letter was written just to get Jon to leave the wall. So the only person that's going to do that is Ramsey. So it had to come from him. You know what I mean? That's only other person I could have seen doing it maybe Sansa, because Jon was kind of fronting at that time. You know what I mean? But if it wasn't going to be from, had to have been for one of them, not LittleFinger.
Yep, we were all expecting some sort of turn in the battle. It didn't happen. It just ended up being straightforward. Ramsey was the one, obviously, who sent the letter. There was no coordination between the Umbers and LittleFinger. The Knights of the Vale came through and swept it clean. So everything was pish-posh on the television show. They didn't do a mystery. They didn't do nothing, you know, to take it away and make us think and wonder, because that'd be too much for an audience, a television audience, in my opinion. They don't think and jive the way that a book reader might, but you never know.
Yeah, and it's also easier to hide things in the book than it is to hide things on a television show. You know, it's kind of like the Arstan, Barristan Selmy situation. You couldn't do that in the show. You couldn't put a wig on Barristan Selmy and have him walk around. That's why they revealed him very quick. Certain things you can hide in books. You know, you wouldn't be able to hide. I mean, you could probably pull off the Jack and Hook-nosed man situation if you wanted to do that, since it's a faceless man situation. But other things like the Sorella Sand, you're not going to be able to, if they shown her earlier, you're not going to be able to dress her up like a boy and then no one's going to know. Everyone would know, you know what I mean? So that just wouldn't work.
That Arstan Whitebeard stuff in the books had me thrown for a doozy. I couldn't believe that was Barristan when I got to that point. It was just like, damn, Barristan, you know, because Arstan Whitebeard was described as a skinny old man. You know, he could maneuver with his stick that he had, but you would never picture a man of the Night's Watch moving like that. So I like the way George hides these subtleties. And when you do a reread, it feels so good. When you know these things and you can go back and forth, I think George is an amazing author. And it's just one of the best books series I've ever read.
Yeah, I got to say, and I'm taking this straight from History of Westeros. I've heard them say this 1,000 times, and actually, if I didn't watch their videos, I would have never got into it the way I got into it. It was their videos, me watching them to understand how much I missed, and that this guy, what he does is, you know, he gives you the question and then asks you the answer later. So you have to go back to get that answer. You wouldn't know, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. And I think a good thing to point it out is that, you know, like I think he said we doing the brand chapter, and Aziz said that, you know, Ghost doesn't make a sound, you know, but Jon goes back and he hears him. Jon hears Ghost right when he finds him in the beginning. If you go to the chapter, he hears him, he goes back and he gets him. But then we don't know at that time that Ghost doesn't make a sound. So right then we're seeing some walking ability right from the beginning. And we don't pick up on that, and we never would pick up on that unless you reread the book. And I didn't pick it up, and I reread it 1,000 times until he said it. So that's what this book is all about, and that's what makes this book great.
Exactly. George is just one of the type of authors that just, you know, puts it out there for you to see the snowflake, but he doesn't give you the magnifying glass. You got to use your brain to go back. And sometimes people see things that you don't see, and it's just a great thing to read with other people. I've never seen anything like it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a role-playing game. Like I said before, I would play Final Fantasy, and I'd be stuck for days on a board. And then somebody with new eyes, fresh eyes would come and sit next to me and play and say, hey, why don't you go over there? And I'd be like, what the fuck? And that would be it, you know? And it's just really a fresh eyes, a fresh look. When you go over the same thing over and over again, it's hard to get out that mode. It's the fresh eyes, fresh look at it, you know? And the different people pick up on different things.
Fresh eyes indeed. Well, we are still in the North. I'm the chef up north. I'm here with my man Tony T. Let's look it up. Where we at again? The next question or topic that we will look at in the North. But before we do, Teflon, can we talk about R plus L equals J? 20 years in the making. What did you think about the way the show presented it, Chief?
I thought it was presented very well. I don't know how they could have really presented it better. So now we're talking about the battle outside the Tower of Joy. I thought that was a really good battle. I mean, people are mad that the guy used 2 swords, but I think, as I said, TV and book is 2 different mediums. And to really, if you want to be on TV and you're going to say this guy's the greatest swords fighter we ever seen, what are you going to have him do? You're going to have him dual wield 2 swords. That's the only way. You couldn't do that with 1 sword. We couldn't portray that. But with 2 swords, just for the fact that he's doing that at that time, we don't see anyone else doing it, that this guy is the greatest swordsman that we've seen in Game of Thrones, And I thought that they did a really good job with it. Oh, I mean, you could nitpick it. I wish, Howland Reed had a frog spear, but that's a little nitpick. That means nothing. That's not a big deal. Overall, it was a really well-acted scene. I was really happy with it, and I'm happy that they paid it off. They went upstairs. They went in there. They had Dorne. No, it wasn't white, but we seen the hilt. That's good enough for me. You know what I mean? And we seen inside. We seen all we had to see. Yes, there was some handmaidens in there. Probably Walala. We seen her in there. Walla and everything else. That's great. I thought it was perfectly done, and I have no complaints about it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I love the whole thing about it. I mean, if they would have showed us a big white sword that Arthur Dayne was using, it might have been a little bit more mythical. It might have been a little bit more magical. But I'll take what they gave us. I like the double swords.
The people that you gotta understand about this sword, this whole thing, it's a fairy tale. That's what people I think that a lot of people miss about Dorne. This sword is forged from meteorite. It's a Azor Ahai sword, so it wasn't forged from a meteorite. That's just a story that's been told. We know where it was forged from. He forged it himself. He stabbed it in Nisa's heart and pulled it out. When the flame went out, that's why this fucking sword is pale milk. I'm telling you, that's what it is. And that's why that sword's going to be inside Jon Snow's crypt right now when he goes down there and pulls it out next season. This is why they're showing this sword. This is what the sword is. The whole thing, it's a forged from a star. Yeah, it's the star of Nisa's heart, if you want to consider her a star or anything like that. But that's what it's not forged out of no meteorite that hit the ground and they pulled the meteorite or it made this sword. No, not whatsoever.
Yep, and this is just another facet of details you had to pay attention to. There was so many things you could have overlooked. When Ned is going upstairs in the second part of the Tower Joy scene, he looks back and sees Bran, that the whispering talk that they had in the first Tower Joy scene from a couple of episodes before. So that was nice. So we still don't know, can Bran telepathically or time traveling magically interact with the past? We still didn't get an answer on that. They deliberately showed us Ned looking back again. That's for a purpose, folks. That's for a reason. Bran might be stronger than he is.
There's no doubt that Bran is affected the past. We see it right here with Hodor when he goes back. So essentially, Bran went back into time. He warged Hodor and back in the day, causing him to have seizures, see what was going on and what was going to happen to him, and basically freak out his whole life to the point where it made him say his name over and hold the door over and over again. Traumatized him that bad. I think Hodor saw his death. He's seen that situation. He knew that was going to happen in his whole life. This is in the back of his head, and he's tormented by the situation. And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg with this. They're showing you this, and then they show you the thing with now. If they were going to end it right there with Bran, if that was going to be the only time that Bran affects the past, they would have ended it. But the fact that they showed Ned Stark hear him is showing that it's going to happen again. There's something else that happened already that Bran fucked up and did to the past. It's him. He's the one doing it. Now, I think it would be crazy if it was the fact that Bran is the reason why that got his grandfather killed, that he somehow took over the Mad King at that time, and he's the reason why he chose fire as his champion. It would be crazy that Bran would be the destruction of the downfall of House Stark in the beginning, only to bring it back, or a situation like that. It just seems burn them all, saying them at all. I know people say that burn them all sounds like burn the wall. I don't think it means burn the wall. It does sound like it, but it's definitely a situation, another situation, whether it's Summerhall or something that Bran definitely affected. Now, me personally, I think that Summerhall, the whole visions and everything else that pronounced that made him have these dragon dreams was definitely Blood of Raven doing this to him to get the Summerhall tragedy to occur. I think this is a different Blood Raven in the book that we're seeing than we've seen in the show. He has a bigger part to play in the books than they have shown him in the show. It's like there's a lot of people it's like that, and that's what I think. But I think definitely Bran has affected something else during with the Targaryens and the Starks and fucked it up somehow.
Yes, indeed. 3 heads of the dragon, folks. Lions, tigers, and bears.
Oh my.
Dragons, wolves, and bears. Oh my. So we got Ned on the bed. He's got a baby Jon Snow. We get the whole reveal, Lyanna Stark. We got the whispering in the woods. We got the babe in the woods. Teflon, what is she whispering in his ear?
Yeah, so obviously, thank God, if you can see that she says straight up, you know what he will do to him. So we know that it's a him. I mean, obviously, people say, babies, it look like girls too. And some of them do, but this one doesn't. So obviously, it's a dude. You know, I wish, as I said, flip the baby upside down, let his nuts hang, so everyone can see it, so there's no problem. Hold them up in the air like Kuta Kente, so everyone can see the goddamn truth. All right, that's the way I wish. Hold them up there like the Lion King did Simba. Whatever works for you. All right, whatever works for you. I know there's some problems in this country of people getting killed, so maybe that doesn't work for you. So maybe this Simba thing works for you. But whatever it is, hold the goddamn baby up. I wish they just held the baby up, but I think it's obvious because he said it, so we don't have to hold it up. You know what him, meaning Robert, would do to him, meaning John. Robert would kill that baby. I have a video I did a long time ago. I got into an argument with my boy, Master Payne, and that's what I tell you. It's not, I don't mind arguing. Master Payne is my boy. And we got into a debate, and we made 3 videos back and forth, and it's called my video. One of the first ones I made is called Robert Baratheon was going to came to Winterfell to kill Jon Snow. And that's what I believe. And we went back and forth on that, and I still believe that. And I think that's what it is. That it's pretty. I don't think everyone in the realm is stupid. That Ned Stark went to this tower, pulled the tower down, comes back with a baby, and just says, "Oh, this is just my baby from my bastard." I think other people would have had the suspect. And obviously, we hear Cersei said the thing about Ashara Dame. Did she kill herself for the brother you slew or the baby you took? That means she has some suspicions about the baby and Ned Stark and stuff going down because there's rumors about it. So I think it's just feasible to think that other people would already suspect it. And we see exactly what Robert would have did. He tried to kill Daenerys. You seen when the mountain and them killed the babies, Robert was all about it. He didn't care. He doesn't look at them as human beings. He calls them Targaryen. What's his word for him? He has a word for him or something like that, he says. He calls them like Targaryen something. He says something. He doesn't even look at them like humans. So that's what it is.
Dragon spawn.
Yes, dragon spawn. So he's not even looking at them as human beings anymore. He's looking at them as animals, as dragon spawn. I think a little bit of that sigil stuff, I think that's why it's maybe easy to kill people back then. If you're viewing people as animals and they're slaughtering them, you know, if you're calling Ned Stark a wolf all the time, wolf, and you're killing them, maybe you're not looking at them as a human being as much as you should.
Yep. Well, we got a lot of stuff here to do today. I just love our J reveal. Before we jump off of it, is there any way that this can be changed up in the books, Teflon? Any possible way that George Martin could do this? Have a little bit of fun.
No. Nope. And why would he want to? It doesn't make sense for it. That's why I tell people all the time, you can't have somebody in the books, no matter whatever theory you want to create or whatever, that has a backstory that's solid. That it's not just a backstory that she knows about. You know, when Daenerys was born, she wasn't the only, you know, her mother was there. There was people on the boat with her when it happened. All these people must have lied. For Viserys not to know this is not his sister, that somehow that baby got smuggled from that point all the way over and shipped out with them, is just so unbelievable that it's impossible. You know, there's a backstory for Daenerys. She has a name, Daenerys Stormborn. We know when she was born. We know that, and we go into this story that she is perceived to be the last full-blood Targaryen in the show. And it probably is the last full-blood Targaryen in the show, but the last of them. To take that away from her, what does that prove? How does that help the story that she would be a half Stark, half Targaryen? It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. In my personal opinion, I think a sword is down in the crypts of Winterfell. I think Lightbringer's down there. I think Dawn is down in the crypts under Lyanna's corpse. You, Teflon, believe it's the harp of Rhaegar. Why is that, sir?
Well, I just think that it's gonna be the sword without a doubt in the show, if we're gonna do lineage, and I'm looking at lineage now, I picked two things when I put down there in the Crypts of Winterfell. I picked the armor of Rhaegar. I thought that's possible. His armor. I knew that Jon Snow was gonna have black armor. Now it wasn't. Now I could see obviously from this chapter. I know what the armor is gonna be from the Forsaken chapter. That's gonna be that. So that won't be there. The harp. When we talk about Rhaegar. The only thing that's ever mentioned with this guy is this harp. Now, other people, there's swords mentioned with them all the time, you know? And a lot of times in this book, you know, they use swords to prove lineage. You see in the Blackfire, they used the sword to prove the lineage. Rhaegar didn't have that. He has this harp. This is his harp. And we see before that when he has kids before, when Aegon is born, we see him, it's pointed out that he's in the window and he's playing the harp in the window when his baby is born. So I would think that it's quite possible that that could be a ritual for him, that maybe when all of his children are born, he would make a song for him and play while his wife was in labor or something like that, sit in the window and make it up and do his song. If that's the case and that harp was still there, and that was the last known location he was at before he went to fight Robert, was the Tower of Joy, and the harp was there, it would make sense to put the harp in the Crypt of Winterfell with there. It would just help prove lineage in the books if that harp is in there. Now, the harp was never brought up in the show or anything like that, so I don't expect it to be anything like that. But in the books, when you hear Rhaegar, you hear this harp, I do believe we're going to see it again, and I think that's a perfect spot to put it.
Yes, folks, and that leads me to want to talk about the House of the Undying prophecy. I don't think if we start talking about that, I don't think we'll ever finish this episode. So I think I will save that.
Yeah.
For the
real quick, I will say that when it comes down to Jon Snow and this last thing on R plus L equals J. As I said this in a video a long time ago, I've been in this game for years, right? If Jon Snow wasn't half Targaryen, he would have no purpose in this story. If he wasn't half Targaryen, as I said all them years ago, you could have just put Robb Stark in his place. You could have put anyone in his place, and that would have been it. The thing that makes Jon Snow special is that he's half Targaryen. He's Rhaegar's kid. That's it. That's what makes him special. That's what always has made him special, and that's why it always had to be this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Had to be half talk.
Yes, and you can also look at my, if you want to go into the House of Undying Prophecy, if you look at the video I did, I said that Jon Snow is going to marry Dany. That's his niece Anissa. I have another video, how Daenerys Stormborn will die. I say it in there, but you put those two together, you will see it. And when you see it in this episode, when you see her dissing Hizdar and she's saying, I'm coming across because I have to get married, you have to ask yourself, who is the eligible bachelor for her to marry in Westeros? It's not going to be Brown Ben Plum, who's not in it. It's not going to be a secondary character. It's got to be someone big. So obviously we know it's not Tyrion. It's not going to be Jaime Lannister. There's really one other male it can be. And that's it. And that is Jon Snow. And that's who it'll be.
And then we get the Song of Ice and Fire, folks. Wrap it up in a big bow and put it out there.
And I know people are like, oh, George, it's too cliche. It doesn't do it. And there's a lot of things that George has done that's a lot of cliche. I know people want to say it's not, but there's a certain way that stories are told. And there's a certain script that stories are told and you stick to have a good story. And this is what it's going to be, man. Bittersweet is when they get married and he has to kill her. That's your bittersweet ending that you're looking for, that everyone wants to look for, this bittersweet ending. Oh, bittersweet. She's going to finally find the chick he wants to be with. They're going to love each other. He's going to stab her and he kill her to make a sword to kill the White Walkers. That's the bittersweet that you're going to get.
Or she having to kill him. Remember in my video, I said John's Nisa, folks. You can hate me, you can love me.
It could go either way. So you can go with Mo or you can go with Tony Teflon. Either way it can go. Me personally, I'm just thinking that Jon is going to get on Drogon before it's all said and done. I really think that Jon is going to ride Drogon. For some reason, something in me tells me he's on that big bastard. So the only way that can happen is if Dany bites the dust.
Yep. Now remember, I'm the king of the North. The chef's up north. We chilling in the North. Let's go back to these questions. Prediction series, season 7. We in the North, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna switch this up every week, every Thursday. Q&A. We're gonna go to a different place to talk about season 7. So, Teflon.
Yes, sir.
How will Jon learn of his parentage next season?
It's a hard question to how they're going to pull it off. Obviously, Bran hasn't even passed the wall yet. The wall hasn't even dropped yet. So if that's going to happen, and Bran maybe see, this is a problem right here. So when does the wall fall? That it really comes down to that, because the only one who knows right now is Bran, right? So when does the wall fall next season?
Let's do that first. Let's knock that out.
Yeah, because that has to, if it's Bran that's going to tell him, that Bran has to come through the wall with the force scale on his arm, allowing the Night's King to do the Jack's punch to the floor, right? Knock down the wall, and then Bran can make it to him and tell him everything, all right? So unless they're going to show Bran communicate with people in the show and they get that in real time, like he's going to be at a weirwood tree, Jon's going to fall asleep, and he's going to jump in the dreamscape him, or something's going to happen. They haven't showed that yet. Unless he's going to do that, I would think it's got to be Bran that tells him. So if the wall's going to fall, if that's the case, then it can't be at the end of the season. It's got to be before that happens. I think this got to get solved. I'm going to say the wall falls in episode 9. Big. I'm going on a limb on that one. Episode.
There was a lot of people whose reputations was on the line last season, who said the wall was falling at the end. Now, it wasn't your boy Tony.
It was me. I was on the record saying the wall would fall this season 1,000 different times, and it did not fall. I really thought to progress the story forward that Bran would have made it through the wall and then it would have fell. I don't think they would have stalled him out here this far. You know what I mean? I thought that would have been the last shot. I didn't want to see Daenerys in the boats coming over. That's not the scene I wanted to see the finish. I wanted to see the wall come down. If she was going to be in the boats, they should have had that wall fall and have that water shake while she's coming across. Like, oh, shit, what was that? And not knowing just like that, you know what I mean? I would have rather seen that. I think that would have been a lot more dramatic and stuff. Even though the ending was great, can't get mad about that. But I really thought the wall was going to come down this year.
Yep, I believe that the wall will come down, in my opinion, middle of the season. Maybe not. I don't think they can do it in the beginning, because the beginning is going to be Dany coming through with the dragons. It's going to be Dany landing in Dragonstone. It's going to be Dany. And to drop the wall is going to be tough. It's going to be the sound heard around the wall, ladies and gentlemen. Is that wall falling? The jackhammer punch, the anchor punch that the Night's King's going to do. That's going to be major. And they got to drop it. I'm definitely thinking middle of the season. I don't think they're going to give that away early like they did Melisandre's old lady reveal episode 1. I don't think they're going to do it like that. I think they're going to do it like a Hodor episode 5.
There's so much to talk about when we talk about the North. We get to Melisandre's old ass crack. Now, it was unnecessary to show the crack in her ass. I did not need to see the crack of her ass. I didn't need to see that woman's old ass box either. All right.
Good God.
And I know people complain, we're all gonna get old. This is how we're all gonna look. No, we ain't. All right. That was exaggerated to make it look worse than it is. Now, I'm sure that certain people at 80 may look like that and everything else, but doesn't mean you have to show it to me. You show me an old box, warty dick. We got a lot of disgusting stuff. And I think we got that because people complained about the nudity. So they said, take this for your nudity fuckers. Y'all take this, motherfuckers, and put that in your pipe and smoke it. And that fucked me up for a day. It really fucked me up. And after I've seen that old woman like that, I felt terrible. You know what I mean? I just a feeling inside of me like, oh my God, Stannis really hit that, you know? And that's just crazy.
I felt violated, ladies and gentlemen.
I did because I looked at the titties. I liked it. You know what I mean? I was like, I was looking at this chick. And now I look at the chick and I'm looking at it like I was looking at that. Really? Wow. I've worked in nursing homes. All right. I've done that job. All right. I've done it. I have not been an ass wiper or nothing like that. The worst I've ever had to do was put someone in the shower and hose them down. All right. That's just not for me. That's why I'm not in that line of work. It's not for me. I've seen stuff. I've never seen nothing like that. All right? Never.
It probably smells like vinegar and garlic, ladies and gentlemen. But that's another story.
Nah, ain't no snap that pussy back. There ain't nothing snapping that pussy back. All right? That shit is stretched out. That shit's on the floor. It's over.
Well,
and sorry, ladies. Any ladies watching, I'm sure that was rude and vulgar, and I probably shouldn't have talked like that, so I apologize.
You know what it is. This is a late night show for the late night people. We like Dracula out here. We stay out into the night. Oh, we chill with the moon, baby. So,
no doubt.
Teflon, what about Howland Reed pulling a looky-loo and giving Jon his parentage?
Oh, say it again, sir. I'm sorry.
What about Howland Reed? What is he gonna do in this story? Isn't he?
Are they gonna show him in this story? That's the whole thing. So we seen him back in the day. We seen him then. It would make sense. We hear him mentioned by Blood Raven, right? Specifically, that's Mira's father. He points that out to him. So it would make a lot of sense to bring him up, but I don't know if we need to. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's ever gonna go. I will tell you, Mira Reed will not be alive by the end of next season at all. There's no chance of Mira Reed surviving at all. No chance at all. Not a chance. Not a chance. And it won't be long either. It'll be quick when Mira goes. It'll be very fast and stuff like that. So I don't know if they're gonna show him in the show. It makes a lot of sense in the books. He could be the ghost in Winterfell. So it makes sense to show him because if he's the ghost of Winterfell, it sets it up for Jon. He would be in Winterfell when Jon and Stannis come and take Winterfell. He's already there. It sets things up for that. It's quite possible. But are they doing that in the show? They need new characters. They killed an awful lot this year. So they do need to replenish the cast. But gun to my head, you know what? I'm just gonna say yes. That Howland Reed doesn't make the show. Hopefully, he doesn't make the show. But we didn't see Howland. Yeah, you figure he has to know. We didn't see him go upstairs with Ned or anything like that. But we figure he would have to know.
He has to know. He rode back with Ned through Dorne and back into Winterfell, so he has to know. Ned couldn't hide a baby the whole ride back from Winterfell.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't. You know what I mean? I mean, they could try to front and say something in the show like he didn't go upstairs, so maybe it's someone else's baby. Yeah, you know. But Howland Reed knows. We know in the books. He knows. So hopefully they go that route, and hopefully they put a frog spear in this shit. I really would like to see a frog spear. I really would love to see that. You know what I mean? But as for the show writers, the way the show is going, I don't have the confidence that they would do it. They could forego that whole situation because Jon and them already got Winterfell. What's the next step for Jon and them right now is going to be, I think the focus in the beginning of the season is going to be, we're not doing that right now. We're only sticking in the North. So let's stick with the North. I think that in the North, the first conflict that Jon and them deals with, it goes towards the Vale, the wall and the Vale situation. It all deals with that before he makes his way down. He'll go towards the wall, the Vale, He's not going to get to the wall. It's going to fall. He's going to hit the Vale. Then he's going to head down towards King's Landing. Then they'll focus on the Cersei Daenerys situation after she hits Dragonstone and heads over. Then Dragonstone, Dorne, and then they'll have her work her way up properly. Which doesn't make sense for the show. He should just come down, I know, but this is the show we're talking about.
Yes, indeed. And there's a lot of info here. There's a lot to do, a lot to talk about. Melisandre, we'll get to her in a bit, but I want to stick with Jon here because Jon is the hero. He's the man. He's the man who wields the sword, Longclaw. But let's talk about House Stark, the lineage, the line. Who passes the line through the House Stark? Sansa is a woman. Jon is a bastard. But is he legitimized? They didn't do the will in the book. We got a couple questions in this thing that I'm talking about, Teflon. Are they going to do the will on the show? How is the line of House Stark going to be legitimized?
I think it just passes through the female line. I think the male line of House Stark probably, I wouldn't say extinguished or anything like that, but, it's going to be passed through Sansa and Sansa's child. She's got to have a child. I think it's set up that Sansa's the one to get pregnant, and she has to have a child to keep House Stark going. House Stark's not going to die. It's not going to be over. That's why, it's like I said before, when people talked about Arya, Arya's this big assassin. She's this killer. No, she's not. No, she's not. It makes no sense for her to be anything. Arya is the Kung Fu man. As I said before, that's who she is. She's just Kung Fu. She's going to do her job, and she's going to walk off into the sunset and go to her next adventure, which would be most likely, I thought, would be in Dorne situation. I thought it'd be down there, but quite possibly it looks like that she is just going to sail the season and discover the United States of America or something like that. But that's what it seems. It probably would go down there for Arya Stark. But I would think that if Sansa is the one to continue the House Stark line, it's definitely going to be, she's going to have more than one child, multiple children to keep the line going.
Yes, indeed. And I just hope that they continue with Sansa possibly marrying another lord. There's a lot of talk on the net of Jon and Sansa getting married, which is ridiculous to me. What do you think about those allegations, Teflon?
Well, it's like I was going to do a video that Jon and Sansa, I did with the official Blaze manga, that Jon and Sansa, Jon Snow, possibly his two sister wives, that would be Arya and Sansa. I thought that was a possibility to happen because George R. R. Martin wanted Jon Snow to marry Arya. And that's why I also thought it's possible that Jon Snow would be on Drogon because he would get the Conqueror role. And he would have to have two sister wives to have that role as the Conqueror. So that's what I thought it would be. But in the show, do I think they're going to go that route? No. I think it would just be considered disgusting. I think if Jon Snow makes out with Sansa, the ratings for the next episode after that would be so low. It would cause disgustingness across the internet. People would go crazy. If Jon Snow was to make out with Arya, people would go nuts. It would be considered so taboo, so disgusting that Game of Thrones would not recover. So they will not do it. Jon Snow is going to be with the people who they want to see him kiss, Emilia Clarke. That's the lips they want to see touched. Those are lips that will touch together. Sansa, whether it's the Hound, whether it's someone, it will be somebody, but it won't be Jon.
I could see this possibility in the books. I could see George R. R. Martin making Sansa and Jon be married. It's a possibility. I mean, the house line, folks. We're talking about the house line. We're talking about, the Stark name may be extinguished unless it goes through the female line because Bran is not capable of having kids. So we don't even know where Bran's going to be. So we'll see how that plays.
And I'll say real quick, I see it in the chat real quick. I just turned on to the chat. So what up to everybody in the chat? I haven't been looking. I just turned on. I know I pronounced her name wrong last time. So I'm going to say I think it's Miss La Rockstar. I don't think it's L.A. Rockstar. I think I said L.A. Rockstar. She may have got mad at me. It's like La Rockstar. So like La Rock. So Miss La Rock, I understand what you're saying, that they are cousins. And I listen, Cousins nasty in our world? It still is, first cousins, second cousins, probably not, third cousins, whatever. But you know what I mean? people aren't going to focus on that in the show. They're not going to really go that far and say, well, they're cousins. They see Jon making out with Sansa or Arya. It's over. That would just nosedive that whole show. They would just say, oh, the show is disgusting, and that would be it. You would see all of these people that you would see all of these Republican type people, conservative people. It would just be a boycott of the show if they did something like that. It would be over.
Yup. That might be the internet shattering moment. This is early in the prediction series, but that might be the earth-shattering moment, ladies and gentlemen. We thought it was Hodor. It might not have been the Hodor situation, but for next season, if Sansa marries Jon, that could shatter it all.
It would be disgusting, and people would not be cool. It would be just as people would hate that worse than her marrying Ramsey or marrying Joffrey. I guarantee people would hate it. It'd be disgusting. People would view it as disgusting and immoral, and they would say, "What's this world coming to? That we're showing stuff like this." I mean, listen. I've had cousins that had crushes on me, younger cousins that thought I was hot when I was, growing up and everything else. And that's just little kid stuff. And back in the day, my mom would tell me all the time that she thought that her cousin was hot back in the day. But my mom grew up in North Carolina on a certain percentage of land when there was no, vehicles or anything. These are the only people that you seen. These were the only males that you seen, back in slave times or even back then, they would just take other people from other plantations and move them over, and then they would have them, make more slaves, and this would be interbreeding because people would just be right from around the area within a 15-mile radius, and 15 miles is the big gap when you have no car and it's all forest, you know what I mean? So in your situations like that, and back in the day, Little House on the Prairie days, yes, cousins mess with other people because that's the only family, that's all you were around. You didn't get around other families and stuff like that. It ain't like there was clubs back then where you can just go get hit, grab people up at, or bar rooms like that. Back then, it's a lot harder. I mean, they may have had a sugar shack of that once in a while somewhere, but nothing like it is now.
Sugar shack.
Sugar shack. Dudes in the sugar shack.
Well, there was a lot of theories that were put to bed this season. I think one that was very important that blew up the Reddit airways, the Reddit line, as I like to call it, was Howland Reed was the High Sparrow. Since we're talking about Howland Reed and the High Sparrow went bye-bye, what did you think about that theory, Teflon? What did you think about mixing them two fellas up?
Howland Reed and the High Sparrow?
Remember that everyone thought they were one and the same?
No, I don't know why anyone even thought that. To tell you the truth, even when I heard the theory and people came up with the theory just even didn't make sense right off the bat. Even when they said it, it didn't make sense. It just didn't make any sense. It never made sense. It just doesn't. You have to just think when you make theories or you do anything, how does this affect the whole story? Does this push the plot forward? Did this help the story or just hurt the story? Or does nothing? Howland Reed as the High Septon does nothing. It doesn't help the story. It doesn't push the story forward. It doesn't anything. You need that guy. If you're going to have an Al-Qaeda type situation, which the High Sparrow is a religious zealot type situation, you need that to be its own movement. You can't have Howland Reed be a part of it and then say, hey, I'm a part of this, but I'm going to shut it down right now. All right, let's go, John. We're all cool. I just did this for you. It just doesn't work like that. You have to have that be its own separate movement. And we see in these books, The Face of the Seven, but they're a big-ass problem. You can't just get rid of them and blowing up. Like in the show, it's over. We'll never hear from the Faith again. But in the books, it's not that easy. If you kill them, they're going to keep coming up and keep coming up and keep coming up. You know what I mean? So I just think that it comes down to the point that people like to say stuff and people want things to say. So I think that people read stuff and they look, and a lot of people have said a lot of things already. So you're looking for something. And when you're looking for something, you look in the clouds. I seen Big Bird the other day in the clouds. You can't tell me that wasn't fucking Big Bird. I know it was. I know it was. Don't tell me it wasn't. I know what I seen. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I never thought that Howland Reed was the High Sparrow. I always believe and still do that Howland Reed has a bigger part to play, much bigger, like revealing a certain half Targaryen, ladies and gentlemen, not being some religious zealot. So, you know, that Reddit theory stuff, you know, some get traction, some don't. It's a possibility, and it isn't. So it is what it is. Let's get back to the north. It's cold up here, but we'll handle it for y'all.
No doubt.
We talked about Jon's parentage. Let's talk about a Stark reunion, Teflon. We're going to see Arya, Sansa, and Jon seeing each other again. Is little Arya going to be able to get mushed?
Yes, she will. There's no doubt that they will. Or it says the wolves will return to Winterfell. I don't consider Jon Snow like a wolf like that. So I'm thinking that it would be Arya Stark as the other wolf that's going to return to Winterfell there.
Yep. The lone wolf dies. The pack survives, folks. That is what Ned Stark told to Arya season 1 when they were in King's Landing. So you know the wolves getting back together. But the big reunion I'm thinking is Nymeria and Arya. We'll talk more about that when we do the Riverlands episode. But that is a big Stark reunion I'd like to see.
Yeah, it's all about whether they're going to show it. That's the only other direwolf we have. So I really think that, you know, Ramsey Bolton getting killed by his own dogs, getting eaten by that, to me, I give 100% credit to that prediction or that theory to LaDonna. She didn't say that Sansa would stick the dogs on him, but she said that she thought that Nymeria's super pack would eat Ramsey. That's close enough to me. And when I deal with this thing, to me, that's close enough. That's along the same lines. And it still could go down like that in the book. And I think that's a more fitting ending in the book if it went down like that. So I think that Nymeria's pack definitely has a part to play. And so I think that without a doubt that they should show it. But will they? They've gotten a lot. You know, if they kill a dragon off next year, maybe they'll start showing another couple of direwolves. But right now, I don't think they're going to show any more direwolves.
Yeah, that would be sweet. We didn't even get Ghost in the Battle of the Bastards or the crowning of Jon Snow as King of the North 2.0. I would have loved to see Jon mushing Ghost's hair or something like that, but we didn't get that, so it is what it is. We'll see him next season.
No, yep, no doubt. You could definitely check out my video I did, How a Song of Ice and Fire Will End, and the title says Jon Snow, King of Winter. There's a reason why it says that, people. There's a reason right there, but you can check that out.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about Melisandre. I said she'd be part of the segment, and I said we'll talk about her predictions for next season. Teflon, where do you think she's going?
There's no doubt. I said it this year. This year I told you. I said if she was going to die, it would have had to have been on the low. If not, she has to go out on there to get killed, to get resurrected by the Night's King. She's no doubt down with the Night's King. You will see it next year. So whether it's Arya that runs into her and stabs her up and kills her, and that's how she goes out, I don't know, but most likely it's going to be where that happens. I don't know where it happens, but it's definitely going to happen, and she's definitely going to get killed, and she's definitely coming back as a Night's Queen next year. Take it to the bank, people, to the bank. And when it happens next year, I want to hear people coming to me telling me, oh, you never said that, Teflon. I'm sure it'll happen anyway, but we'll see what happens then. But I guarantee if I had to predict anything but Melisandre, I am 99.9% sure that that's the way it's going to go down for her.
Absolutely. Y'all know what it is. Go into Teflon's channel. Go to the playlist. The man said it a long time ago. We're talking days and years now, ladies and gentlemen. He said she's going to be the Night's Queen. Melisandre works for the great others. Okay? She is a great other supporter. In the books, she can see that Brynden Rivers, a.k.a. the Blood Raven, a.k.a. the Three-Eyed Crow, is trying to do something bad to her. We believe that this is all going down when the Night's King comes, when the long night comes. Teflon.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. I said it in one of my videos back then. I said, I think my Melisandre prediction video, chapter breakdown, that Blood Raven strips her glamour right off her. That's how I knew that it was going to happen in the show. because I knew that he did that to her in that chapter. Now, it doesn't blatantly say that. You have to read in between the lines. But I said that in my prediction that he strips her glamour right off her. I knew that was going to happen to her in the show at that time when she was at the wall. I didn't think it would be happen that she would just pull it off herself. I thought quite possibly she'd be looking the flames and it would happen like that. You know what I mean? But no, Mel, I thought that's what people have to understand about this Blood Raven. It's not the same Blood Raven that they showed in the show. It's a whole different situation. It's a much deeper story, especially dealing with the Blackfire situation. You know what I mean? So it's going to play out a lot different. Bran's not going to be the three-eyed crow this quick as he is with all these powers, and Jon Snow is not going to be resurrected that quick. It's going to take him a while. I think he's going to be in Ghost Body for a second.
Me too. I believe Jon will be in Ghost for a good portion in the books, The Winds of Winter, when it comes out. He might even be in Ghost for the whole book. It's a possibility. Television's a different medium. You can't have Jon inside of a direwolf. Half the audience might not even know what if Jon was in the direwolf unless you're doing close-ups on him. But in the book, you're gonna have POV chapters. You're gonna have other POVs in the Night's Watch that be able to sense Jon is in Ghost. A lot of other things that you can show differently in the books. In the show, they resurrected Jon pretty quickly. He's in his own, they didn't use any magic other than Melisandre using the power of R'hllor to bring him back. So it is what it is. That'll be a little different in the books, obviously. We got some questions in the chat. I don't know if you remember, Teflon, but Melisandre, season 3, in the Riverlands, Brotherhood Without Banners. Melisandre takes Gendry, and as she's leaving, talks to Arya, says, I see black eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, eyes that will close forever, eyes looking back at me, eyes I will see again, something of that nature, meaning she would see Arya again. Is that happening? How is that happening in the show?
No doubt. They said she's going to see Arya's going to kill her. There's no doubt Arya will take her out somewhere, and that's how she's going to be resurrected tonight. But it'll be Arya. Arya's going to take out a couple of people next year. Not that as many as people want her to, but it'll be a couple of people, without a doubt. That's the way it'll go down for Arya.
Yes, sir. And Arya's got a list, folks. Cersei's still on the list. I believe the Mountain is still on the list. Melisandre's still on the list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who else is, but we will talk about that in the Riverlands episode of this Q&A, folks.
You got Cersei's on the list still. You got Cersei's there. Melisandre's there. The Hound's not there anymore. She took them off. Yeah, there's a couple of people there.
She didn't take him off, but she told the waif that she didn't necessarily want to kill him anymore, like almost like she loved him.
Yeah, so that means he's off the list then. She don't want to kill him. That's it. He's off.
That's true. Is it that easy to get taken off of a list? I mean,
this is her list. It's her personal hit list. Whoever she wants to kill. If she ain't mad at you no more, she don't want to kill you no more. You off. And she don't want to kill him no more. He's off the list.
That's going to be so sweet to see the Hound with the Brotherhood Without Banners runs into Arya in the Riverlands as they're all headed to the north, and boom, they collide with Melisandre, folks. Wouldn't that be sweet?
Yeah, we got it all. It's all set up right there. You see the Hound going to fight the White Walkers. That's the reason why they're going up there. You see Arya's going to link up. You're going to see Melisandre run into him. Watch. I guarantee it jumps off like that. That'll be the big thing that happens when it goes down, You know what I mean? And that's the way it goes. Wait a second. Who is this person? Let me answer this question in the chat real quick. So it says right here, this is from Runaway Lady. Never seen this Runaway Lady before. And it says, LOL, Tony, I told you last year I thought Brienne would kill Stannis and Arya would kill Mel. And you said no way. Change it too. Now, Runaway Lady, I don't know if I've ever seen your comment before. Ever. At all. So I don't know if I've ever even seen your thing. So if you said that last year, you'd have to point that out to me where you said that straight up. you know what I mean, before, but I've never even seen your symbol when I look at it before at all. So if you told me that that Brienne would kill Stannis and she did, then you definitely got that right. And Arya would kill Mel. I've said that before, so I don't know why I would say anything else but that. I've always thought that. But Stannis killing, Brienne killing Stannis, I did not think would happen. So if you did say that, then bravo to you on that one. But the Arya thing, I've always thought that.
Yep. The cold winds are rising, and we have a large conglomerate of people headed up to the north. It's going to be so sweet, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be so fun.
All the people in the chat, just know, I'm watching the chat and everything else, you know what I mean? So I have no doubt I will answer. If you put a question there, I would definitely, you know what I mean, answer your questions and stuff like that. I'm not afraid of anything I've ever said to defend it, or if I'm wrong, I'm not afraid to admit that I'm wrong. I'm not, as I said, I'm Tony Damas. I'm not right about everything. A good amount, especially my death predictions. I think I got 80% of them right. And I think I did like 45 or 50 death predictions, and I think I got like 11 wrong out of the 50, or maybe less than that. But it was pretty good for me on that. But the big ones, I missed on a lot of big ones. So I don't count it as a great victory, because you got to hit those big ones, you know what I mean, to really say you did something. Regardless, it's the big ones that matter.
And the big ones he's talking about is like Melisandre turning into the Night's Queen, folks. If Tony hits that one, he's going to be in Song and Ice and Fire lore, folks. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, folks, if he gets that one right. Ding, 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 ding.
Put me in the Hall of Fame right now. Put me in the Hall of Fame right now, baby, because I'm telling you, and I'm saying this right. Trust me. I don't know why. And I don't know why, but a lot of things I've got are gonna be right in the end. I don't know why, and I don't know why, but I just got a feeling that it's gonna be like that. We gonna see though, and I'm not changing nothing. All the stuff I did from years ago, those of you could go back and take a look. It's all there. I'm not. It's like I said in one of my videos before, I said something. People said, "Oh, you said people are gonna predict stuff, and it's easy to see, and that's mean for you to say that." People got mad that I said that, and I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it. What I'm saying is that the prediction I made, predictions I've seen people made, I made years ago. I didn't make it during the season while the episodes were going on. I made that shit years ago. When I predicted stuff for this season, I predicted it 3 to 4 months before the season started, not during the season. So I was saying it to the people, when you're predicting stuff when the season starts, and I do that, even myself, I don't really count it as predictions, because if you're watching the show, it's pretty easy to see where stuff is going to go to. You know what I mean? You should be able to pick it up. And that's what I was saying. Mostly, what I got right, that I'm proud of getting right, the stuff when the season before it started, that stuff, those are the predictions that I give people props for. When I see that shit from people, then I give them props. But during the season, like, you know, it's pretty easy to see this stuff.
All right, let's get back to the chat. We got questions down there, Teflon. We got some doozies in here. I got one for you. So this person, Dan Bowes, says, if the White Walkers make it to Winterfell, won't the Kings of Winters and the Crypts come back as whites because their bones are down there?
Could they resurrect them? Yeah, I would think they could resurrect them. There would be no reason for them not to be able to resurrect them unless Winterfell has some type of magic. Now, look, Winterfell may have some magic like the Wall, like Storm's End. Now, we know Storm's End, like the theory goes that Brandon Builder helped build this thing. Stormguard couldn't blow this one down for some reason. Maybe that has some type of magic in it. Maybe Winterfell has some magic in it that we don't know about that can keep the White Walkers out. I think it is a spot where winter did fall. So I think that's why it's called Winterfell. Obviously, we have the hot springs in there for a reason. That's why it's in between the wall to help. So it could be a situation like that.
Yes, indeed. That'd be creepy, folks. I call that creepy pasta. The old Kings of Winter waking up from the dead to help the Night's King. Kings on kings, folks. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would just be weird. I mean, as long as they don't do no Lord of the Ring type situation where Aegon coming with the old kings to rest their souls and they run through everyone. I don't want to see that shit. They best not do that shit. If they do that shit, I would laugh. I would laugh out loud funny if they do that shit. There better not be no old Rickon Stark and Ned Stark shadow form coming out with shadow swords and chopping people up. I do not want to see that whatsoever.
It would look cool on screen, but it would not be cool in the plot. It would hurt the plot a lot. You feel me? But let's get back to the chat.
As Renee M says she want to see that. I hear you, Renee M. And Renee M. and anyone else who has not subscribed to me and Mo's new channel, Street Talk New York, please do. But Renee, your book is out. It's there. It should be, I would think the 6th, it should be tomorrow. You should expect it in the mail. So it should be there for you tomorrow. I would hope that it arrives. And if it does, when it does arrive, please hit me up and let me know that you got it safe and sound. And anyone else who does subscribe to that channel, I have 5 more books that I will give away to the people who subscribe. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but me and Mo are working that out. But subscribe over there so you can have a chance to get one of those books autographed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Street Talk NY. Well, we just talk everything. We talk art, fiction, sports, pop news, pop culture, news of the day. Anything you want to hear, we got it. That's what we do.
And we have a lot of opinions about this shootings that just recently happened. That would be the next couple of stories that you'll see. We have stories on that, but we have a lot of lighthearted stuff too, mostly. You know what I mean? So check it out just for stuff. If you're not, other thing than Game of Thrones, just looking for real people talking about the news, or your peoples, how your peoples would feel about the stories that you hear going on in the world. Take a look like that. You know what I mean? Think of it like that, and get involved in the chat, and definitely come and check us out. And we're gonna have other people that do Game of Thrones channels that have opinions on other things besides Game of Thrones. This is a place we're gonna have them come over there, and we're gonna have them join us there and talk about these social situations and other things, and anything on Twitter and all this funny shit. We're going to talk about all that stuff there.
My main man Jamie Sneed asks us a question. He says, if Bran returns to Winterfell, is he the king of the North?
No, he's not the king of the North. It's apparent that Jon Snow is the king of Winter. And that's the bottom line. It's not going to be Bran. It's not going to end up on Bran. In the books, I don't see it playing out the same way for Bran. I really don't know how Bran's getting out of that tree in the books. I don't know. So it would be shocking to me. Now, the reason they moved him out of the tree in the show is obvious. It's boring. You can't have him sitting in that tree. You see what Mira was doing. She was bored, right? So you got to think that's the audience. That's the way the audience is feeling, the way Mira was feeling. So that's where they have to move him out of that tree. So is that going to happen in the show? I don't know. In the books, I don't know. He may be in there a lot longer than they have done it in the show.
Yeah. I think if Bran comes back to Winterfell, he'll be considered a lord. He will be considered somebody's liege lord, but Jon's got the sword right now. He's got the throne. He's got everything in the North. I mean, you can't just remove what's been done. So that's what it is. Jon's the king of the North. He's the main man up north. He's the chef up north, and Bran just can't yoke that. Even though he's the true-born son of the last true warden of the North, I mean, it's been proclaimed. There's a proclamation, I mean, he's been elected. It's like a presidency. Jon's been elected the new president of the North, and you can't redo that. There's no recount.
Yeah, I'm fucking with those dabs out there. I can't fuck with you with those dabs. Those dabs fuck you up. I got no part of no dabs, no wax, no nothing. Can't do it. Can't do it. I won't do it. I refuse to do it. No tolerance level. I'm not trying to get that tolerance. Like once you go, everyone told me once you go wax, you can't go back. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, y'all keep doing the dab, and I'll see y'all later. Well, we're gonna wrap this Q&A up. We'll take a couple more in the chat. Y'all do what it do. Me and Teflon just gonna do us. We're gonna fall back and do our thing. We got a couple more minutes, so we'll answer stuff. But I'm gonna just ask you, Teflon, what What, if anything, is there going to be a major shakeup next season? Major marriage, major babies being born, anything major that you think is going to happen that we haven't already talked about? Teflon.
For next year, major.
Major, anything you feel. Major marriage, major babies being
No,
born.
I gave you the.
But not, I'm saying the ones we ain't talked about yet. Anything that we haven't talked.
Yeah, I gave you the Mira Reed death. I think that'll be major. I don't think I've heard a lot of people say that. And I'm gonna have to give you let's see, let me think of something big that people ain't gonna see coming for next year. Everyone's gonna it's like it's to the point right now. All right, I'll give you a death next year. One of the dragons will die next year. Without a doubt.
That's major.
There won't be 3 dragons going into the last season of this. One of those dragons go down next year.
That is major, folks. I like that. I like what he's doing with his noggin, folks. Who's it going to be? Rhaegal or Viserys? Because you know Drogon ain't going nowheres.
No. It would have to be the one that gets possessed by Euron. I think it would be that would be the one that gets it, most likely Rhaegal, I would think, in the books, because that's the one that's flying over the sea by the horn by Victorion. So that would be the likely one, that the scene that would get taken over, if anyone's going to get taken over.
Yes, indeed. I definitely foresee that happening. I'm going to give y'all my major specialty. I've said it a few times. I've been shot down. People made fun of me. They said it'll never happen. So I'm going to say it again. Tyrion and Dany will hook up. I first said that they'll marry, but I'm reiterating it and I'm changing it a little. I'm going to say they're going to hook up. Holla at your boy.
No, that it's possible. Out of all people, I said this in the video before, that all people that they put together, I never seen them put those two together. Out of everyone else is put together with Dany, but they never put Dany and Tyrion together. Never. I just think that it's set up. We see it right now. If you look at the way they set up, we got Tyrion, the connection between the North and Dany. Tyrion already married to Sansa. Jon, Dany, they both switch partners, and boom, 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 there you have it. I think that, because I mean, the books, I think it could end up like that in the books if Sansa ends up with Tyrion. Because Sansa, you got to think about it. She would end up the Queen of Winterfell, the Eyrie, and then she marries Tyrion. Then she's got Castle Rock too. She's got everything on lock, Sansa. Everything. She owns it all, and it probably would go down like that in the books.
Yep, that's just going to be so sweet. I can't wait. There's going to be so many things for next season. We just did the North, folks. We're going to do King's Landing. We're going to do the Riverlands and Dorne. I'm probably going to put them in the same episode because there ain't too much to talk about Dorne, but we'll put them with the Riverlands. And
there'll be a lot going on with Dorne next year. As I said this year, what I said people would be shocked. I said, if you look at my review, I said that you could see something different going to happen with Dorne. I told you from the jump before the season started. I told you that they were going to go down to Dorne, and people told me, "No, Tony, they're not going to Dorne. They're going," because Marjorie slipped up and said it in the interview, and I said she fucked up. They're going to Dorne. They was like, "No, she's going to Highgarden." And where was Olenna Tyrell at? They were in Dorne. So as I told you, they were going to Dorne. They're going to Dorne. That's it.
Yep, that's just going to be serious. Next year, Dorne, they're going to have to redo the whole thing. They gave us a taste of the new Dorne, folks, and that involves Varys the woman. Y'all know what it is. Go check out my video on my playlist. Varys is a woman. But they gave us a taste, folks. They gave us what we might see in Dorne. I love Lady Olenna. I hope that the Tyrells get their revenge. You know, there's revenge in the works for next season. I think that's a major thing that they left us off with. There's revenge in the cards for next season.
Yeah, the thing that I think it could spoil for the books is this going to happen? Is the whole House Tyrell going to get wiped out to this point to an old lady in the books? There's a lot more Tyrells in the books. Obviously, a lot more brothers and stuff than we see, but are they going to get wiped out like this? Are they going to get destroyed like this? It would be weird if they did. Excuse me. I got the hiccups now.
Well, before we roll out and before I leave y'all with the last bits, make sure y'all check out Tinfoil Thursdays. Giving a shout out to my girls, Alicia, T Baby. They're gonna do something after us. I give my people's love, so that's what it is.
Always check them out. Check out Tinfoil Thursdays. That's jumping off. I'm sure the Hypes Watch got something jumping off, so check them out. Don Willie. Check them out, your Big Game James Michelle. Check them dudes out. You know what I mean? They do their thing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things jumping off. I got a couple of things planned on this weekend, but I will not announce them because it's not my place to. So hopefully other people will. But I will be on this weekend on maybe different channels, not my own, but hopefully it'll be. So when those other channels announce it, then you will see me there. Or it may just be a surprise when you see me pop up on these channels. Sure.
Y'all need to pay attention, looky-loo through your subscriptions. There's a major channel combo coming up. Your man Teflon's involved. It's not his place. It's not my place. But make sure you on the lookout. And, of course, me and Teflon got our show, Street Talk New York. That's coming up this week, too.
Yeah, we'll be shooting more episodes probably tomorrow, the day after. We'll be shooting up next week's episode. So, as I said, we'll be talking about this craziness that's been going on in the news with these shooting people and everything else, and just terrible. And we'll be talking about that and a couple of other things, a lot more lighthearted stuff too. You know what I mean? So, Runaway Lady, I love you too. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Love everybody in the chat. All my people out there. T Baby, thank you for coming through. Big Dave, Adams holding down the chat as always. Kevin Brown, La Love, what's that? Love. I don't know if I've seen you before, but what's up? Definitely check you out. You know, thanks for coming through. AU Pack Mute, Eli, what's up? Ahmad, what's up? Mano Geek TV, what up? Renee M, obviously, all love to you. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And Don Willie stopped by. Thanks to everyone. It's my fault we didn't get a lot of people here. I've been running busy. I didn't have a chance to share it with the people I normally would have shared it with, so I think that's why we didn't get that viewer count. So I apologize to you, Mo, for that. I should have got that out, but I was just a little bit more busier today. So I promise you that next week I'll definitely get that out and share that. So we definitely have more people out there in the chat.
And for the new people that I don't know, please subscribe. For the new people that don't know, please like. It's Moejii, the King of the North. We got Tony T, Teflon TV. Make sure y'all know what's up. Our place is here. Our team is strong. Thank you.
Peace. Stay sexy.